Darien Fenton.
Speaker, my question is to the Minister of Labour. By how much in today's New Zealand dollar terms has the wage gap between New Zealand and Australia grown since the Employment Contracts Act 1991 deregulated the labour market?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, I'm advised that the calculation that the member asks for is fraught with problems from a mathematical point of view, and that two people working out the same question are likely to come up with two different answers based on differences in currency, conversion, CPI, purchasing power, etc. That said, the Department of Labour has provided some numbers showing that difference in the wage gap is around $100 in today's terms from what it was back 20 years ago. They also advised the largest gap in wages occurred under Labour in 2006.
Darien Fenton.
Supplementary to the Minister. Does she agree with Professor Ray Markey of the AUT Work and Labour Market Institute that, quote, there is virtually no evidence in New Zealand, for example, or even overseas, that a reduction in the coverage of collective bargaining or in the coverage of unions will improve workplace performance? In fact, there's some evidence which goes the opposite way, close quote.
The Honourable Kate
Mr
Wilkinson.
Speaker, I neither agree nor disagree with that quote, but can I say that we do appreciate the value of unions in improving the productivity of the workplace. We accept that, but in relation to collective bargaining, what we're trying to do is focus on a labour market which is flexible, that is actually conducive to economic growth and to wage growth.
Darien Fenton.
To the Minister, does she agree with Business New Zealand CEO Phil O'Reilly that employment relations need to be flexible in order to drive productivity? And if so, why is Australia more productive and has 30% higher wages despite having a stronger union movement and centralised wage fixing, a system called modern awards?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, yes, I do agree with that sentiment of Mr O'Reilly from Business New Zealand, and unless the member is totally ignorant of what happens in Australia, she should be aware that actually they're very rich in minerals.
Darien Fenton.
Supplementary. To the Minister, which factor does she believe has had the most influence on the 100,000 New Zealanders who've chosen to leave for Australia under her government? Australia's higher wages and better holiday conditions, or the Christchurch earthquake and Australians' different climate, as she suggested on Radio New Zealand this month?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, there are a number of reasons why people are leaving to go to Australia, and there are a number of reasons why people are leaving Australia to come to New Zealand. And some of those do include the earthquake.
Supplementary.
Darien Fenton.
Does she think, as our Prime Minister does, that Australia should just give us a coal mine? And that's the answer to the wage gap and the thousands of people fleeing to Australia?
Sorry, sir, I didn't hear that.
Order. Could the member please repeat a question? I couldn't hear it either, and ask members not to interject so much, please. Darien
Does
Fenton.
she think, as our Prime Minister does, and as he has said today, that Australia should just give us a coal mine, and that is the answer to the wage gap and the thousands of people fleeing to Australia?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr Speaker, I can say that certainly if we are richer in minerals, then we would have a better economy.
That brings us to questions to members. Order, and question number 1 stands in the name of Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is